All right, welcome back everyone to another week of the PBO, the Pokemon Battle Organization, a draft league, draft format type Pokemon gameplay, where we draft Pokemon and then we fight each other. So yeah, we're going into week 6, 5, 6. Hold up, let me check that. Week 6. And we are of course the New York Knickets. We are 1-3, one win, 3 losses, 1 tie. But I think we can still make playoffs, and hopefully we can still go for championship. But our squad is nonetheless Sneasler, who is our Terra captain, who is Terra Flying, Terra Fighting, Braviary, Hisui, Rotom, Mo, Klefki, Lycanroc, Pyroar, Hatterene, which I did switch out for Samurott Hisui the previous week, Tatsugiri, Spidops, Sandaconda, and Gothitelle. Obviously, looking from my team, we do have a little bit of a weakness to water. It's not that big though. We do have slight weakness to ice as well. Definitely have some weaknesses to ground. Weaknesses to ghost, of course, only 1 immunity, and obviously dark is like okay, but overall our team is pretty fast and you know, has been able to put in a lot of work so far. But looking at my opponent's team, we're going up against the Ottowa Donphans this week, and their squad is a rain team, and a very deadly rain team at that. So they have Garganacl, Pelipper, obviously running Drizzle, Bronzong, Frostlass, Floatzel, Raichu, Gyarados, Donphan, Medicham, Spiritomb, and Beartic. Obviously the major like hazard, I guess like most dangerous things under Drizzle is definitely Floatzel under Swift Swim. If you guys didn't realize, Floatzel I think was like in OU for a couple weeks, just because in the rain with Wave Crash, like just Life Orb does like a bajillion%. You also, I think, get Flip Turn as well, I think. So it makes it a really strong Pokemon for in rain. Raichu also really good, can just drop Thunders, just casual Thunders all the time. Beartic also a pretty low-key, pretty good Slush Rush user, even though it is 50 base. It does essentially reach 100 base in the rain, and has really high attack and also some good coverage, and I am weak to ice, so it is a little bit problematic. Garganacl, looking at the rest of the squad, Garganacl is a very good defensive mon, almost like always getting 2-hit KO'd. Very good for Salt Cure, chipping off things, as well as Stealth Rock. Then we have Bronzong. This can be good to set up rain, and also very strong defensively. I think it also sets up Stealth Rocks. Frostlass, very annoying, very fast. Destiny Bond, Spikes, just getting off some clean damage. Also Ice type, which is really strong against my team. Floatzel, I already explained. Raichu, I already explained. Gyarados is their Terra captain, and Terra Flying and Terra Grass. Grass obviously being good for those water ground types. And then Flying, Gyarados has a lot of potential to sweep me. Then Donphan as their Rapid Spinner, and Stealth Rocker, Medicham just being very strong physically. Then Spiritomb as a good Sucker Punch, just kind of defensive Will-O-Wisp thing. And yeah, Beartic to round it all out. So this week we are bringing Clippers, the Rotom Mo. Starting off, I want to immediately kind of utilize the advantage that I have. Looking at their team, you can obviously see they have definitely some weaknesses to electric and grass, and the two things that, like, the main thing that is resistance to electric just gets hit by Leaf Storm and dies, so very powerful. Even Raichu cannot take a lot of, I mean, it probably can take 1 Leaf Storm, definitely not 2. Then looking at the rest, I mean, they've got some weaknesses to Rock, Ghost. These things aren't everything, obviously. Fairy as well, but I am going to try my best to utilize this information on our team. Next, the reason why we're bringing Clippers with the leftovers is because obviously electric and grass does a lot here. So I'm running a Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Substitute Leaf Storm set. Volt Switch is to get some switch initiative if I need to, if I can't hit what's in front of me. Thunderbolt, this is essentially like my lead for Pelipper, because I can just Thunderbolt and hit whatever comes out, or if Pelipper is the lead, I can just Volt Switch turn 1 and get some initiative that way. And Substitute is really good in case I don't know what they're going to switch out into. So say turn 1, I could just sub up on the Pelipper and then just wait to see what they want to go out into, and then I can just kind of punish whatever comes out. But yeah, we're running full offense, full speed as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Rotom Mo. Next, we have Hero the Tatsugiri. He's coming back this week. Running Storm Drain, which is actually super huge because I mean a lot of their sweepers are water types, and having the ability to be immune to water as well as get a plus special attack boost via Storm Drain is very, very strong. We also are running Eject Pack, which can be really, really good for our Draco Meteor and allows us to essentially have some more initiative. Running max speed and max special attack. We're running our own Surf in case rain gets up and I can start spamming Surfs of my own, as well as Rapid Spin. After I think my main reason for Rapid Spin is after a Rapid Spin I outspeed. Who do I outspeed? I think it might be Gyarados. Pretty sure. Or I think the main reason was to, after I get a Rapid Spin up, I can still outspeed +1 Gyarados. I think that was the main concern. In case it was Terra Grass, I can still Draco Meteor it if I need to. And I have Taunt as the backup. To be honest, I can't really remember what Taunt was for. Maybe it was for Donphan or potentially... I think it was also for Garganacl, so it can't Salt Cure me. No wait, no. Salt Cure is like an actual damaging move though. Why did I bring Taunt again? Sorry, I made this team. I made this team like 2 days ago. Kind of forget why I put Taunt on here. Might be for Spiritomb. Can't remember. I know it's useful. Also good for Bronzong, I think. Maybe it's for Bronzong. Anyway, essentially the whole point of this thing is to really get off some damage with Draco Meteor, because on their squad they only have 1 resistance in Bronzong. That's exactly where I brought Taunt. Taunt on the Bronzong to prevent it from setting up Stealth Rocks after it comes in on Draco Meteor. And then Draco Meteor also gives me initiative, so I can switch out into something else to damage the Bronzong. Also, in terms of what's stopping a lot of my strong hitters is Bronzong, so you'll see my main idea is to really try to chip down Bronzong in this game. So, because I definitely think it's bringing Levitate and not Heat Proof. I mean, I do have Sandaconda. I would think that they're bringing Levitate. I think it's just better as well for my Lycanroc, but we'll see. Next, we have Dumbledore. Our Hatterene with the choice specs. Magic Bounce. We are running Dark Pulse, Dazzling Gleam, Trick, and Giga Drain. The main point of this is that they have a pretty strong weakness to Fairy besides Bronzong. Depending on their spread, Dark Pulse does it like almost half. Like if it's defensive, it's a 2 at KO. If it's not defensive, I think it's like 3 at KO. Still really, really strong. Trick, obviously good to get rid of my choice specs if I need to, and can just like throw it on. Like if I Trick on a Gyarados, like a Dragon Dance set, my choice specs, that is just like absolutely amazing. Dazzling Gleam to hit everything that's just like neutral. I also thought Giga Drain was pretty strong for Garganacl specifically, as well as like other water types if I need to heal, get some health back. We also are running a little bit of speed in case, I think it's to outspeed Bronzong. Like literally these 3 if they're not invested, basically Garganacl, Spiritomb, and Bronzong. It definitely doesn't hurt if they do end up having speed, then it's like, oh well, but definitely doesn't hurt to have the chance to outspeed them because Hatterene is very, very slow. So next we have Klefki, the Aloha Klefki with Light Clay Prankster. We are running a fully defensive set. I mean, that's kind of like almost like what all Klefkis run, just because it's like their best stat. But we're running Light Clay Reflect, not running Light Screen, which is kind of interesting. Reflect, Sandstorm, Spikes, and Foul Play. So obviously my opponent can set up Rain very, very easily with Pelipper. This can just kind of be a backup check in case like if I'm getting swept by anything. I can set up a Reflect. If Gyarados is out trying to Dragon Dance up, I can go for foul plays. I can do a lot of things. I can reflect. Main thing though is I do kind of want to get spikes up, because spikes will definitely help reduce the amount of I don't know why I'm talking like this. Reduce my opponent's HP, obviously, when they come in to help my other two sweepers. And essentially just overall, my goal is to chip everything down and then have Sneasler in the back to clean up. So for our Sneasler set, Sandstorm is also good for my Cocaine Dog in the back, but I will talk about that in a second. Elm Street is back, of course. Terra Fighting, normal gem. I thought about running Terra Flying again, but I was so iffy about it all the time. Like, it's definitely not bad here, but I think it's honestly really good against what was it specifically? I think it's Pelipper, just so I think I might be able to take a Hurricane better. But yeah, we're running Sneasler again, normal gem, close combat, Dire Claw, Swords Dance, and Fake Out. So this is my sweeper, but as well as it can just come in and kind of click things and do a lot of damage. So I really want to try to balance out dealing damage, allowing Sneasler to be taking damage as well if I need to. Fake Out is actually super useful because it essentially allows me to control when my Unburden procs. Essentially, if I'm about to get swept by a Rain Sweeper like Floatzel, nice thing is I can literally Fake Out, proc my Unburden, get that chip off, and now I outspeed it after my Unburden, which is really, really huge. So yeah, this is essentially Sneasler. Dark Claw also being a very good move. Don't know why I didn't run it last week. I'm just a bozo. Then finally, we have Cocaine Dog, the Lycanroc with Life Orb, Sand Rush, running Accelerock, Crunch, Stone Edge, and Close Combat. Overall, this is just like one of my damage dealers, and essentially another kind of, I mean, I wouldn't even call it a flaw because they have resistances, but essentially I feel like I can chip down Bronzong enough, or no, I can chip down Donphan enough between my Tatsugiri basically coming in whenever it wants, as well as Rotom Mo coming in on this whenever it wants, that I can come in and kind of force that thing out and chip it down. That the only thing stopping like all my Stone Edges from just like crumbling like most of these Pokemon is Bronzong. So you can see like a lot of things are like reliant on Bronzong living to hold down most of my attacks. So Draco Meteor, Bronzong has to take, Dazzling Gleams, Bronzong has to take, and Lycanroc, Stone Edges, Bronzong also has to take. So I'm hoping between the pressure of all three of these, I'll be able to whittle it down to have some sweeping potential with my Sneasler. Also, if I set up my own Sandstorm, I outspeed things as well, and this thing can also start sweeping if things are low enough, with spikes, of course. So yeah, that's pretty much the team, and see you in the battle. Thanks. All right, and we are back for the battle. So as soon as I log in, these are, by the way, these battles are fresh out the oven. Literally just got done battling. We are up against Ottowa Donphans, and immediately they don't bring rain against us. And wow, what good prep on their part, because I definitely prepared super heavy for rain. I think everything that I brought can still definitely function if they didn't bring rain, but a lot of these things that I was essentially like preparing for, I may have been even underprepared for rain. But I was like, man, he didn't bring it. Like, I don't know what I'm expecting now. There's a lot of different things that I saw in here that I'm not sure what could go right and what could go wrong for me. So looking at their team, they're bringing Raichu, Gyarados, Donphan, Medicham. Actually, was not expecting that. Spiritomb and Frostlass. And immediately I'm thinking, in my prep, I heavily prepared for Bronzong to come, and Bronzong didn't come. Meaning I have, I can spam fairy moves with my Hatterene. There's no resistance for my Draco Meteors on Tatsugiri, and my Lycanroc can also do a lot of damage, but it does have to break through the Donphan and the Medicham. So that is what we're working with. Game one, I was really trying to figure out what to lead with, because I figured that they might lead, Frostlass could be like a Spikes lead, I also thought it might be worrying if Donphan led, so that's why I'm deciding to go with Rotom Mo. So they lead off with their Medicham. Wait, I lead off with Rotom Mo. I don't lead off with Rotom Mo. I lead off with Tatsugiri. Still preparing for the Donphan lead because I thought they might want to set up Stealth Rocks. So I thought this would be the best bet of just being able to surf. Also, in terms of Pokemon that I can just surf, Gyarados can be like after a surf into what is it, Dracometer. I think it does a pretty hefty amount of damage, so I wasn't really too worried about that. So they lead off with Medicham, and honestly I was super scared here because if this is Choice Scarf, I actually just get one shot by a close combat. But I felt like knowing that information was valuable enough to stay in, because it also allows me to bring in something, kind of do a lot of work. I was prepared to go Hatterene and spam Dazzling Gleam. But yeah, I was like super nervous of whether my Dracometer will actually hit, but I do go for a Dracometer and it goes into the Spiritomb slot. Does a good 44% after checking this. I'm pretty sure this is 252 HP, 252 SPDF. My jetpack does go off, which is really good. There is a problem with the jetpack, but we'll get to that and later into this game. So obviously I switch on to Hatterene at this point. I also see that they're leftovers, and I'm just going to spam Dazzling Gleam here. Doing 58% to Donphan. That means that this thing is also especially defensive as well. At this point I was deciding whether I want to stay in again, but I felt like taking the earthquake damage on Hatterene is probably not that good, especially since he can't set up Stealth Rocks on me. It's probably best to just go straight into Rotom Mo. So I do decide to go into Rotom Mo, and they go for a knockoff. Knockoff is a little bit unfortunate because it does get rid of my leftovers, but I still am fast enough to do a lot of damage here. So in my mind right here, I am kind of expecting them to switch out. Even if they have Ice Spinner, I outspeed them. So at this point I was expecting them to switch out, predict the Leaf Storm, maybe even go Spiritomb, and I thought going for Substitute was a good play, but they actually reveal Ice Shard, which does 37% to me, and that is a lot more than I expected. So definitely worrying here, but obviously my Substitute fails, and at this point I'm like, well, Rotom's definitely fast, it's definitely good. It can check the Gyarados, but ultimately if I can get something out to threaten this Donphan, it's fine. Like I can just sack Rotom Mo here. I felt pretty comfortable to sack it, but also in some aspects Gyarados sweeping me is still definitely very scary. So I go into Tatsugiri. I'm obviously threatening a Surf here. Also, if they wanted to go for Stealth Rocks, I still have Rapid Spin. They bring in their Spiritomb, which is especially defensive. They take 37. Even after leftovers, I still kill them, so I do go for another Surf. And then Gyarados comes in. I think they definitely, I think Spiritomb definitely had to sack there. If you try to go Gyarados right away on the Surf, I think you take too much after a Dracometer, but Gyarados does have pretty good special defense, so I'm not entirely sure. But Gyarados does immediately come out, obviously threatening to sweep me, but luckily I prepared. And I guess this was another thing, I think during the prep I was like, I can't remember why I have Taunt here. This is also a major reason why I have Taunt here, because I outspeed Gyarados and prevent him from Dragon Dancing, which is exactly what happens here. I taunt, they Dragon Dance, obviously isn't in effect, and obviously I could Draco Meteor there, but I'm not going to do too much damage, so I am going to switch out into Klefki, and they double out into Frostlass, which can be pretty scary, but also I can get up my spikes here, and they can also get up their spikes, so I'm just going to start tossing out my spikes. At this point, I kind of misplay pretty hard, but I'll explain that in a second. So I go for a spike, they go for a Will-O-Wisp, and at this point I think my opponent was probably smarter than me, because realistically if they're going for Will-O-Wisp or spikes, I should be going Hatterene right now. But I'm so narrow-minded that I actually go for a spike and they go for a Willow. No, wait, is it this turn? I thought they go for a Hex. Never mind. Well, I think it's probably next game. That's why I'm getting confused. But I'm pretty sure they went for Hex next game. But what I should have done there is switch into Hatterene. I think it's just the best play because either they go for spikes and I get an additional layer on their side, then threaten them out, or I can also magic bounce the Will-O-Wisp away. They go for another spike, and I go for a Foul Blade just to see how much damage it is. This also gets rid of its Focus Sash if it did have any. And then at this point, they went for another spike, so now I am expecting them to go for another one, so I do go Hatterene this time, which gets bounced back. And the nice thing is I definitely know that I live a Shadow Ball, actually, even if I'm not fully invested, but I also do take a Hex too. So I take a Hex and then go for a Dazzling Gleam, and I get Cursed Body, which is really bad because what it means is that Gyarados can come in here and set up for free. I'm definitely gonna have to hard switch into Klefki, and I also don't have Magnetize on Klefki. So essentially, if Gyarados comes in here, Dragonite is up, and I have to go Klefki, I have to immediately set up Reflect, and then also probably set up Sandstorm for my Lycanroc. But they actually do end up going for Donphan, which I think is actually a good play because they do want to get rid of the spikes for their Medicham and Raichu. Their Medicham actually, we haven't seen it set yet, but it does have a chance to sweep. I'll just say that. So they do go for a Rapid Spin. I go into my Tatsugiri here because I also saw that they were going to Rapid Spin, so I was like, I want to Rapid Spin too. So I go in here and I Rapid Spin as well. Ice Shard crit, definitely unfortunate. But you know, at this point, I think Tatsugiri, I was essentially thinking they had to. I think there I was thinking about sacking it. I was thinking about switching out, but for them, they absolutely had to Ice Shard there. Otherwise, I outsped and killed them. So I was predicting them to go for another Ice Shard, which means I can go Klefki. And now I'm like really deciding whether I want to set up spikes. Should I just get one spike up? Should I get Reflect? I do decide to go for the Reflect, which allows me to get an Earthquake up, and then I pop out another spike. So then I die. And then I think this is when I kind of move in. I'm like debating. I can't go Hatterene because I do get outsped. I can go either Sneasler or I can go even Tatsugiri. Or no, I can't because I have Ice Shard. I can go Sneasler or I can go Lycanroc. And now I'm just deciding, well, if I go Sneasler, I can kill this probably with like a Dire Claw, but then Gyarados comes out, I get -1, then it kind of becomes problematic because like I have Dire Hit, but I'm serious ad right now. I'm going to talk over this so the ad doesn't, you know, I don't get copyright here, but the Sneasler, I'm worried if I go for Dire Claw that Gyarados just comes out, intimidates, and then it can set up on me and sweep. I mean, I do have Reflect up, but if I'm -1, 2 Dire Claws don't kill, and it can definitely be very scary for the rest of my team because everything is low, especially Lycanroc. I think Lycanroc can live 1, but then Lycanroc is Life Orb and has to finish off the whole team, meaning I lose. So Lycanroc is definitely the best play here. They go for an Ice Shard, just getting a little bit of chip, which is actually pretty smart in case I was Focus Sash, because if I set up like Swords Dance there, Medicham has a chance to come out and kill me. So I was staying in there with Reflect. I was worried that Medicham was close combat, and even through Reflect, I still die. So my best bet is to sack my Tatsugiri so I can go into something else and potentially kill this whenever its defenses are dropped. So I do sack Tatsugiri, and they reveal Trailblaze, which is actually super fire. Life Orb Trailblaze as well. Sorry, let me go a little bit more. Life Orb Trailblaze, which actually can be really scary. I think after 2 it starts to outspeed. Can't remember. I don't think it outsped immediately. I'd have to look back at the calc, but I think it does outspeed Lycanroc at this point. So I have to bring in Hatterene, and I was definitely worried because I do resist everything, which is good, but I think if they had Ice Punch, it does around 30%, but I'm not entirely sure. So they do go for Zen Headbutt, which is good. Well, 30% minus the Reflect, so Zen Headbutt did 20%, and that's stab and not very effective. So maybe Ice Punch would have killed, I'm not entirely sure, but I am able to live that and go for a Dazzling Gleam. And then Gyarados comes out, obviously very scary. because this is definitely going to the last little bit is really popping off right now of who's going to win this game. Waterfall, definitely the best play to get rid of my HATTERENE. Then I come in with Lycanroc, and I know I outspeed this, so I can just go for a Stone Edge, and we miss our Stone Edge. So this can mean a lot of things. We Dragon Dance in this moment. This is when he knew he fucked up. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think Stone Edge is always better than Rock Slide, but like, so annoying. We miss our Stone Edge, meaning he could set up here and has honestly a good chance to win the game. Or we can Waterfall here, and I don't know if we live or not. So he does go for a Waterfall, and we actually live, meaning we have a chance of knocking this out next turn if we land a Stone Edge. So next turn, go for Stone Edge, we actually land. But the interesting thing is, I think that there was potentially a play there on my opponent's side of sacking Raichu, so then Sneasler comes out on Gyarados, and then you might be able to, not even might, you win that. I think you win that 1v1 between, because I'm fighting, not flying, and you're Terra. If you're Terra flying, I mean, maybe if you're Terra Grass, it sucks. But if you're Terra flying, I think you might win that. So I think maybe a play on my opponent's part was to sack the Raichu, and then go Gyarados. But at this point, my Sneasler is out against a Raichu. I do have the Spike Up, meaning if it was Sash, I can get rid of it. And then I can, I don't want to reveal anything too much about my set, so that's why I'm going straight for the close combat. Even if this was Scarf, it doesn't outspeed me, so. Or no, it outspeeds me, but it doesn't kill me. So I just go straight for the close combat and kill it. And that is game one, and very intense game one, in which I think if they made that double, I think I lost, to be honest, because I did have Fake Out into Terra Fight close combat. Let's honestly run that calc. Let's have some fun. Let's run that calc, because to be honest, I am curious. Assume it's OU Dragon Dance -1. Oh my god, that's so bad. That's like 40%. Yeah, if that occurred, I probably lost game one, without a doubt, pretty sure. As long as it was what, yeah, it doesn't even need 252 HP or anything like that. It's insane. Wow, Sneasler, I thought you were good. Maybe I could Direct Claw spam and get some hacks, but yeah, that would have been scary. So that's game one. We barely win that one, but I think we had a lot to learn. And going into game two, I think I definitely have the proper tools of doing enough damage. I just, like, Gyarados can absolutely wreck me, and I need to be more careful about that. So I think this time I try to be a little bit more conservative of what my Rotom Mo does, but who knows, maybe I sack it right off the bat. For my lead, I think it's kind of free, because I mean, not free. I just think it's the best option to go with HATTERENE, because I have something to hit pretty much everything for neutral or super effective damage. So I lead HATTERENE, they lead Spiritomb. I think at this point, I think before, they didn't know if I was Specs or not. I don't know. They might have thought it was like a high roll. I'm not entirely sure. But at this point, I can just spam Dazzling Gleam, and Dazzling Gleam just one-shot the Spiritomb that is 252 HP, 252 spit up. So hella damage. Donphan comes out, and I'm like, okay, well, I can just sit in here and actually go for Dazzling Gleam, and it's actually beneficial for me, because after I Dazzling Gleam, I can go for Giga Drain the next turn. So that was my play. But unfortunately, we do get hit with a crit Earthquake. I don't think it would have killed us before, but it would have been nice to get that Giga Drain damage off. Then we switch into Tatsugiri, threatening with a Surf, and of course, this is when bad things happen, because I brought a Jetpack. Gyarados can actually intimidate me, proc my Jetpack, and send me back out. But this isn't terrible, because I can go Rotom Mo and threaten this out with the Thunderbolt. So I think I go for Sub here. Yeah, I do go for Sub here. Sub is kind of the best play. Like, even if he had Ice Fang, I could see if he could go for that. I do outspeed him. If he went Donphan, I could Leaf Storm next turn. Raichu or Medicham, I can still do a lot of damage next turn. So we're still in this situation. Frostlass comes out. My Thunderbolt doesn't kill. So I think just better thing is to just get the initiative. So they do outspeed me as well. So they go for an Ice Beam. I Volt Switch out, and I think I go Lycanroc. Good damage as well. Yeah, Lycanroc. Now we outspeed this thing. I do go for a Crunch here, and I get pretty lucky because it is a defense drop. But I think even if it wasn't a defense drop, my close combat still killed here. But obviously my defenses are lowered, so it could make something else in the back worse. We Crunch again. We do take that out just in case he was going to switch again. Gyarados comes out, and this is kind of crazy that even after an Intimidate, after calking, my Lycanroc can still kill this with a Stone Edge. And so we do. If it was 252 HP, I think it had a chance of living. But yeah, Stone Edge actually had a really good chance to kill, so I went for it. Let me check that. If it was 252 HP, what happened? Nope, I think no, but we're not. We're -1. Yeah, if it was 252 HP, we had a we probably lost that. But if it's set up, I could Excel Rock. So yeah, there was some play around there. But I guess if he waterfalled me, I just instantly lose my Lycanroc. But in a way of getting rid of Gyarados, I sack my Lycanroc. It's just perfect. So, but it ended up working out for me. I do get the Stone Edge and I do kill. Frostlass comes out. I do outspeed this thing with Crunch, so I just go immediately for Crunch. Even after a -1 attack drop, Crunch still does a lot of damage. So the thing is this is still a little bit scary because Medicham can still put in a lot of work with Close Combat and Zed Headbutt. Just between those two combination of moves, but I am expecting to go for another Trailblaze here, meaning I can go directly into Klefki and then set up a Reflect. And at this point, excuse me, you can see Close Combat even through Reflect. I'm 252 HP, 252 defense, and that thing is doing 43%. That's disgusting. Medicham is this one PU? I think it's PU. It's actually disgusting. Just absolute monster. But we do take it out with a foul play, and then Raichu comes out. At this point, my best play here is to sack Klefki. I mean, I could have gone something else, but I don't think I probably could have gone Rotom Mow and kind of stalled it out that way. But ultimately, I think going for the Sandstorm was the best play because I essentially get Chip off to prevent it from having its Focus Sash stay intact, as well as get my Lycanroc speed up. So I do go Lycanroc here. This also increases my special defense, but it doesn't matter because I do outspeed in close combat, guaranteed kills. So yeah, and that is game 2. So after taking a pretty bad L last week, we do get the dub. Huge GG's to my opponent. Very good game. I think it was definitely extremely close game 1. Game 2, I think I don't know if I necessarily played better, but I think I had more chances to do a lot of damage, especially like immediately off the lead of just one-shotting the Spiritomb. I think it was pretty deadly. But I think they also brought a good team. I think they did a good job prepping. Their Gyarados did end up being Terra Flying. I think there was a turn also where their Gyarados -1 defensed me. If they Terra Grass, I did around 50%, I think. And then they had also sweeping chances there, but they actually brought Terra Flying this week. Still isn't bad, but because I think I still had Klefki in the back if anything went wrong. But yeah, huge GG's to my opponent. Definitely some close and some good games. But looking forward, we took a dub after last week's definitely a hard defeat. So I am pretty happy about this. I think our prep went really well. I don't think anything really went wrong except for maybe a jetpack being consumed when Gyarados came in and intimidated. That was a little bit unfortunate, but I think everything else went well, considering that we were kind of more prepared for rain. But even then, like, who knows? We could have been wrecked by rain. So another key important thing about my team going forward is let's see, we have made a switch for week 6 and we have dropped Gothitelle, who is pretty, I think was on my team week 4. Yeah. So dropped Gothitelle for Girafarig, and now that we have Girafarig, we have another immunity to ghost, which is essentially very useful, and Girafarig does have Eviolite now, which is very, very powerful, and it has some more uses, I would say, than Gothitelle, because Gothitelle did not have a lot of uses. So yeah, that is the video, and I'll see you guys next week for our next opponent. Hopefully the New York Knickets are going to take it all this season, but who knows. Got some very, very tight, close games and a lot of good players, so we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.